Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, in the beginning we'll take few minutes for ourselves to clarify, understand how this meditation can help for us to develop our inner awareness. So when it comes to our spiritual practice, main purpose is bringing the purification to ourselves, purify ourselves. So what we need to purify, all the unnecessary habit or the patterns that we develop ourselves. And another way, we call that all the unprofitable skills. We have to take out, and at the same time, we have to bring all the profitable skills to us. So in this journey, if you look very carefully, our day-to-day life depends on the memory that we already acquired. So even your body has a very nature to accumulate the memory, hold the memory. So it's kind of like a black box, you know, the plane and sometimes the ships, submarines, it has a place that collect all the details 24/7. Collect every in and out, all the details. So our body also like that. It doesn't matter whatever the good or the bad or the right or the wrong, it doesn't matter. It has a nature to collect all the informations. So then what happens once you have that information in you, in that very next moment when you're going to experience something, that your collective memory going to become the very first responder. So then once you become more comfortable with that, your awareness become more weaker, and the memory of the responding of memory and going to overtake the moment of experience. So as a result of that, what happens when it comes to the perception and the very moment of experience, you disconnect from the reality. So the very meaning of the reality, when it comes to that, people explain it in a different ways. That you can explain the reality as that what we see, hear, smell, and whatever this outside things. You can explain as the reality as the trees, the birds, the clouds, the sun, the moon, these kind of things. But when it comes to deeper understanding, the very reality is this. So what you experience in the moment within yourself, not that what is outside. In the moment, what you experience within yourself is your reality. But the thing is, when you use so much memory to understand it, or too much memory to recognize it, what happens, you're not going to experience the very moment of reality that happening in you. So when you don't have that foundation, out of that all the bodily, verbally, mentally actions that you develop, not going to be profitable. It always going to become unprofitable. Unprofitable along the way to bring the difficulties to us. It's very disconnect us, separate us. And as a result of that, what happened, the envy arises in us. That is the major reason today. When it comes to the science, the technology, the machines, that all the social medias, the news, that everything disconnect us deeply as human beings, especially with these pandemic situations. What happened to us? It slowly disconnect each and everyone. And everybody start to go found their own self-centered place. And now mostly they depend on that. And that disconnection invite for the envy. Now most of us have the envy. And once you have the envy, then from that envy, that disconnection, that separation, you will do anything to protect you. So the very moment of experience, the reality that happening in you, once your awareness tuned to that, what happened, that is where you're going to get healed from that disconnect, because the vulnerability, that the connection first should happen within yourself. So when you have the disconnection within yourself, within your consciousness and the experience, and in the outside world, with the intellectual way, we try to develop that connection, it doesn't work. It's not strong that much. For the moment, it's going to be okay. So when we come to the kind of like a very, people always, now we just go into only to the moment, and we try to even the happiness and satisfaction. And everything we come to it's very short moment. It doesn't go a little bit longer. And everything very quick. And everything we want so fast. And it is just not only outside, because there is a call come from inside you. So that call come from inside with the very, very base of the disconnection, unbalance. So once you settle down with the posture, and your awareness going to be with the moment, and then in that very moment you settle down with the very moment of experience, what happened inside you, that's where you get into the connect with the reality, and that connection build up the recovery method to get out of this disconnection and bring the harmony, harness with your inside awareness and at the same time with the outside perception. And that is where you anymore not going to carry the envy. And that is why that you become more vulnerable to yourself and to the outside world. And that is where you have the more loving kindness and compassion, empathy and sympathy. So those are fundamental qualities when it comes to our human life. So those are intellectually, if you try to get it and keep it with you, if you don't have the very clear foundation, by the time what will happen, it's going to become very weak. That's why we look like nice, we act like nice, we talk like nice, but when it comes to our deeper, the true character, ourselves, even we don't know who we are. And we can't find that niceness even within ourselves towards us. So that is a kind of like a big drama that we play every day. So in the beginning that we have to come to the point to look into ourselves and accept that we are not complete. We have to come to the point to accept ourselves, that there is a deeper unknown character behind us. Because if you don't come to that point to accept, you never look into that. So that's why the meditation is a method, 100% to yourself. You start to see into yourself without any self-centered opinion. Because when we go into the outside world and we try to go with others, we always put our self-centered opinions. That's our human nature. But once you develop it as a skill to look into yourself without self-centered opinion, you can see inside this, your own thoughts. There are a lot of things happen. Even you don't know the answers. Even you don't know from where it comes. Even you don't know who you are. Once you recognize that, it becomes a kind of like a wisdom for you in a very dark night, like a thunder, light. It becomes like a wisdom to you, and then you recognize your true nature. What is your true nature that you don't know about? You don't know that, even you just hold it to your own name and form, and you don't know that the real, that is the beginning of wisdom. That's why that knowing yourself, know thyself, knowing yourself and recognizing yourself, realization of the self is the beginning of this journey. So the sitting itself brings that ability to yourself. And once you have that ability, what's happened? You become very careful with the small things that happening in you, that what you experience within yourself. Why? Because this is small things, little things that you experience today with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Nothing else. Within that whole eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, that are small things you recognize, by the time it can become very big. So if you neglect these small things, small experience, and by the time when it start to grow inside you and bring the result, and invite some other big things, then you become so worried. But once you see inside, you recognize this nature, and then you become very careful with the little things. And then you put more attention towards that. And whatever that unprofitable, whatever that unnecessary, you slowly drop it. And that becomes another wisdom to you. Because on the surface level, in an ordinary life, we go with the space value, and with the outside world, we go with the people, maybe we like them the way they appear. We like their skin color. We like their makeup. We like their jewelries. We like their fancy branded names that they carry. We like that the way they talk. We like their perfumes. We like that how they respond to us. But still, you don't see who is inside this skin. But when you have the deeper awareness to recognize these little things, what happens? You're not going to caught up on this on the face value. You are capable to see little by little deeper the true character this person hold. It's a kind of like you see through the moment you start to see the bigger picture. And that's bring ability for you to recognize. Even though in the moment you experience something, it is not a kind of like a isolated, independent incident that you experience. You recognize it has a deeper character behind that which is not visible. That this the same thing that people in the ancient time and some other books they explain as the third eye. Why? Because we are so caught up with this outside on the surface level with the face value. So that's why that our emotions and the perception when it's caught up, we don't see the true nature. So the third eye means another way. You need the kind of like a third person point of view to your own experience within your own awareness. So that concept came to the world to give some kind of attention. When you experience something, if you just imagine if you think, oh, if I have a third eye, I know better than this. So that's mean what you see is not the end. Because if you have the third eye, that's mean you see something else. That's mean what you experience in this ordinary way is not the end. There is something behind it. So how about when you develop the awareness and when you experience something, if you put more attention toward yourself and how you accept the things, how you accept your perception, you accept it as an end result, or do you think it as a kind of like a process? Something happening behind it and you see just on the surface level of the effect. So then that way you become a little bit very careful. So that is where your awareness go when you little by little deeply start to practice. It is not about judging. It's not about how the doubt. It's not about the resisting. It is about you are entering more deeper into your own experience. There's nothing can hide. Once you enter into the depth with your awareness. That art is the very long, and in the ancient time, the yogis, great masters, they always had that ability. But by the time today, what happens? We lose that ability even in day-to-day life within ourselves also. And we don't know what happened within ourselves. We don't know what happened within other people. We don't know what happened with the environment. Why? Because we have no capacity to go into them. Be more caught up on the surface level. So then just remember that whatever the little things that you experience, if you are capable to catch it, and you lose the taste regarding these big things, because you recognize the beauty regarding these little things. And for some people, by the time it happens, this wisdom come to them, like when people get old, if they are develop some kind of knowledge, wisdom within themselves, what happened? The most of the big things become smaller by the time. So some people, if they don't develop that, what happens? Sometimes these smaller things become bigger when they get older, you know. But if you develop the certain kind of wisdom, then that most of the big things become smaller. So another quality that you gain when the awareness become more clear, when you have the vulnerability, when you have the deeper connection and trust yourself, and that trust bring the openness to yourself to accept anything, and that way you don't have the resistance. And then that there is a quality come to your mind finally. That quality is that when it comes to this society, when it comes to this world, when it comes to this experience, each and everything has its own nature, beauty, and quality. And then that separation, when we don't have enough wisdom, when we are not matured, what happens? We always try to take everything as same. When you try to put unequal things as equal, that is the beginning of ignorance. When you try to keep unequal things as equal, that is the beginning of your ignorance. Why we do that? Because we have no strength, we have no power, we have no wisdom to accept. It has its own nature, has its own quality. So that's why sometimes when people overtake, when people develop a hierarchy, when people develop dogmas, and they try to bring that everybody towards their own ideas. But when you become more matured, you are capable to accept that others' concept or the ideas, believing as their own believings. It doesn't matter they criticize you or they accept you. But when the ignorance become higher, we believe, oh, everybody should follow like us. Everybody should accept this. Other person should accept this. We can't take the rejection. We can't take kind of like that it has a separate thing. So then what happens? Again, it ignites the enemy inside you. But if you are capable to see things and understand things and take things separately, and accept things as it is. That is the quality of the tranquility state. And then once you develop that quality yourself, it brings the ability to have an undisturbed mind. So then why you have the disturbed mind? From where that get disturbed? It get disturbed out of our own concept or the ideas that we build up inside us. Because sometimes we go with the things in a wrong way. Just as example, sometimes when you go to funeral or maybe in a kind of like a ceremony to pay respect for your ancestors, veterans, sometimes people say, okay, let's take a 1 minute silence. And then everybody, stand up and then close their eyes sometimes. And then they start to think something. And that's mean their mind start to talk to them. So even though that they observe the silence, that they should completely shut down and observe the silence, but what they do, they start to talk to themselves. They start to remember that whatever the person, they start to remember that all the ancestors, whatever they have done, they start to remember that whatever that other people used to do, that they repeat the history in their head, in that silent 1 minute. But when it comes to observe silence, means that you have to shut down inside you and be completely neutral and observe the silence that exists within you and around you. See, so like that, when it comes to ourselves, that where this undisturbed mind also we took it in a wrong way. So the undisturbed mind, most of time we think that other people should not disturb us. No, that undisturbed mind means that our own thoughts need to have some discipline, interconnect with the moment, and your thoughts should go with the intention that you have. And but still that if your awareness become more stronger, clear, and that clarity will help you to stay undisturbed with your own thoughts, because sometimes the thoughts it's always keep talking to us, keep coming. But when the awareness becomes stronger and you don't get disturbed, so that is the quality of tranquility state. So then always remember, don't try to respond to your thoughts, and step back a little bit and learn to observe a little bit. No, your awareness is not your thoughts. And try to see thoughts without responding to it, without putting your self-opinion on your own thoughts. Just observe. So then it will help you to see the thoughts. Once you see the thoughts, it will help you to see the mind, how the mind behaves. So once you see that, that is the entering point to inside you. Because all over your body, this mind governs each and every cell. It is just not only the brain, that all over your body you carry the memory. But once you start to entering to the mind, once you start to see the mind, that once you don't respond to it, You recognize that whatever that you go through, there is a different character behind that thought. Maybe it is a very white thoughts, but deeper behind it, there is a very dark black character. Maybe there is a very dark thought, but behind that there is a white character. So like that, you start to see this. That is the ability you gain through the vipassana. You are capable to see deeply what is happening within yourself. And once you have that ability, remember, you are anymore not going to go with these habitual patterns, repetition, emotions, desires. You are capable to cut it underneath within its own thoughts, even it not going to come as an action. You are capable to uproot that mental formation underneath your thoughts. If it is dark, if it is black, if it is unprofitable, you are capable to uproot it. And once you uproot that, anymore, it cannot grow. So that is a way that you develop your purification. So that is what it called the development of your awareness. Because you have the ability to see your own thoughts and you have ability to react to that own thoughts wherever it arises, knowingly and seeing the depth of it and seeing the reasons. And once you have that ability, by the time that you recognize this each and every moment arise as a result of change, not because of anything else. Once you know that, you get out of this all the collective behavior, and it releases that all the memory that you carry with the self-centered mind. And then you release that self-centered mind and you more into settle down with the causation or the causality. So once you have that, the moment by moment, with your bodily, verbally, mentally actions, you perform life according to necessary cause and conditions in that environment, seeing and knowing things as it is. Once you are capable to come to that point, the itself is deeper within your moment experience, your liberation, your transformation happens. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck, head straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body, please, and scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Swapatveva, or may I be well and happy, 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And when it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. So if your mind go here and there, bring it back again and again, and by the time, bring your attention and see how the thoughts arise and disappear itself. Bring attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward, visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. To your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun. Spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjisami Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.